Hi guys, Ronnie here. Thank you for joining us again on this video. This is a series that I'm doing to try and encourage and support people through these days and weeks of lockdown. If you're a follower of the channel, you'll know that we're taking 8 different topics and that we're going to talk about them over the coming weeks. The 8 topics are faith, family, fostering, drop-in ministries, Baliard's Castle, health, wealth and travel. So those are the 8 areas that we are looking at, and obviously in these early videos we're just going to give you a little bit of a background, and today we're going to look at family. For us, family is so important, and I know that if we look at it, strong nations are built on strong communities. Strong communities are built on strong families. And so we as parents are the biggest influence in affecting the lives, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, of our children. So we have a big responsibility in terms of building strong families, which in turn build strong communities, which in turn build strong nations. And so as I mentioned in our previous video, today we're going to look at the key principles for a successful marriage, because I believe marriage is the strong foundation for every family. And I know that a lot of marriages are coming under pressure during these lockdowns for various reasons. It could be to do with homeschooling, it could be to do with the social isolation and the loneliness factor. So there's many areas, even financial problems. So there's many areas where marriages could come under pressure. And so I want to just give you 6 key areas that I'd like you to consider in building strong marriages. And these are things that I've learned from my experience. I've also shared them at some at wedding ceremonies that I've spoken at. So these are good things for you to implement. So there's 6 things, and they all begin with C. If you watched the previous video, you'll know we had it designated into 4 different areas and for easy remembrance. So we have this into 6 C's. And the first one is communication. Now that might sound very obvious, but I think it's something that's very important. And maybe it's something that each of us needs to just examine in terms of how much we communicate to our husband or our wife. There is a study done, statistics say that the average person watches 46 hours of television every week, but the average couple spend 4 minutes a day in constructive conversation. And so I don't know how true those statistics are, but it gives you something for us to look at our own lives and say how much, for example, how many hours do we watch television compared to a constructive communication with our partner. So I would see communication as foundational, and maybe it's something that all of us, especially men seem to drag their heels in this area maybe more than women do. Women are more keen to have communication, but for us as men, I think sometimes we struggle with that area. And so that's something for all marriages that I want to encourage you to communicate. Turn the television off, get the children to bed, and spend some quality time together talking about your dreams, your hopes, your ambitions. And that will be a good, successful key to your marriage. The second thing that we want you to consider is consideration. The second C is consideration. Consideration is not an easy thing, because built into every human being is to protect yourself, to look after number one. But in a marriage situation, you're actually thinking more about the other person's needs than you are about your own needs. And so that is a biblical principle as well for relationship in general, but it especially applies to marriage. And so after communication, we have this second thing of consideration. Consider putting the other person's needs ahead of your own needs. The third C that I want to mention is compromise. And I don't know of any marriage that doesn't at times have different opinions and even arguments. I hold my hands up to that. We're married for 39 years this June, and we still at sometimes have disagreements. still. And so the third C is compromise. You can't always have your own way. Sometimes you just have to make a decision that you're going to disagree on certain items, but it's not going to affect your relationship. So compromise is the third C that we want to talk about this afternoon. Obviously, I could talk a lot more on these things, but I'm trying to keep the videos just a short, sharp 8 minutes or so. So I haven't time to expand them. If you would like to talk more about them, please make a comment below and we'll come back to you. If there's some questions you'd like us to talk about on any of these particular areas. The fourth C that I want to mention is contact. Now that's probably a very vague way of talking about physical intimacy, and it's not on a YouTube video to talk about the details of physical intimacy, but to me it's a very key area of a successful marriage. And there's a survey done in the United States, and it said if you hugged your husband at least 3 times a day, you can increase his lifespan by up to 3 years. Now, I don't know how true that statistic is, but it sounds like a good idea to me. So physical intimacy, loving and caring for one another deeply is very, very important in building a successful marriage. Number 5 is commitment. And I think that's a very important factor, even for many young people. I know not young people maybe don't have the same struggles going through lockdown, but I want to suggest to you this doesn't matter what age you are. You have to understand that your marriage is a lifetime commitment. Caroline and I were married on the 5th of June 1982. I was 21, she was 19. But we'll always remember that as 2 young people, we stood before God and stood before all our family and friends, and we made a commitment to each other that only death would break. And so I think all of us need to consider the importance of making vows. What vows we have made is before God, before our family and friends, and God takes our commitments very seriously. And the final C to fit into our time scale today is Christ. And so that's our 6 C's. And it wouldn't be good because, right from the outset, I've talked about faith being fundamental to everything that I believe, to all my life style and all the things that I do. My faith is fundamental. And so my experience tells me, and I would like to encourage you as well, the 6th key to a successful marriage is to include Christ. Again, going back to our wedding day, we were given a promise. It's in Proverbs 3 verse 6. I don't know if you've ever read the Proverbs, but they're presumably written by one of the wisest men that ever lived. And so if it's one of the wisest men that ever lived, then it's good for us to listen to what he had to say. And this is what he said: in all your ways acknowledge him. That's speaking about God. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And so that's an encouragement that I would like to leave with all of you as we consider the 6 keys to a successful marriage, which for me is the foundation of a successful family life. Successful families build successful communities. Successful communities build great nations. So thank you for listening today. If you have enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button, hit the bell. That will give you a notification anytime we post new content. And if you like the content of this particular video, please press like, hit that thumbs up and make it blue. That will help our channel. So thank you very much again for listening today. May God bless you. May God bless your family. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.